Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. A kind of revisiting old palettes that I have in my collection that I think are still good, that I don't use as much as I should. Essentially a shop my stash type of deal, but with my palettes. I don't know, I just feel like there's so much emphasis all the time online, especially in the beauty community, like new, like constantly showing and trying new shit. And while that's super fun, super exciting, I love buying new makeup, obviously, but at the same time, I'm a grad student. I can't afford to keep up with the constant inundation of new makeup all the time. And I have so many palettes in my collection that are super good. Like, they're good quality, they're really pretty, and I just don't use them enough, you know? So yeah, I kind of wanted to maybe start doing this. If people like it, all 10 of you that watch my videos, hey. And just kind of revisiting old palettes, like I've said 5,000 times. Today I thought I would start off by using the Jaclyn Hill, original Jaclyn Hill palette. This is like actually the original. This is from her like first launch. I don't even have shade names on mine, but I love this palette. When I first got it, I used it absolutely to death. I haven't used it in a while, which is kind of what inspired me to start this series and why I chose to use this one. Regardless of what your own personal thoughts are on Jaclyn Hill as a person or influencer or whatever, I do think this is a really good palette. You have a really wide range of shades, stuff that's like lighter. You can kind of do like quote unquote everyday looks. She also has a really good selection of deeper shades, which I find in a lot of palettes. That's something that I find lacking a lot. So I really appreciate that palette for this. You have nice mustard tones, neutrals, like a nice the name for the shade is escaping me. Yellow. You have really nice mustard tones that are kind of unique. You have a yellow, you have pops of color, you have more neutral shade. You really have everything you could ever want in this palette. And that is all that I have to say. So without further ado, keep on watching. So I'm just gonna start off using this shade right here. It's called MFEO, and I'm just gonna use that as a transition shade in my upper crease. And I'm using a Morphe M433. Next, I'm going to use this shade right here, the shade Jax, and I'm just going to put that in my crease and outer V. This is such a beautiful shade. It's one of my favorites ever. It's so nice. I'm just gonna take a totally clean fluffy brush and blend the edges of this out. I totally forgot how much I actually really loved this palette. It's not like the be all end all of eyeshadow quality by any means, but for the price, it's a really, really good quality palette, and it has some really beautiful shades that you can wear like every day, or you can make dramatic looks. Like it really is just like an all around for any occasion good palette, which is why I wanted to do this on my channel, because I feel like I am the most guilty of just forgetting about the palettes that I already have in my collection, and I just want more new palettes, and I forget like how good the palettes that I have actually are, and that I should probably use the ones that I have more anyway. Especially because this Once Upon a Time used to be like my favorite palette ever. On a little bit of a smaller brush, this is the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush. I'm just gonna take this shade right, no. This shade right here, it's called Chip. And I'm gonna put that on my outer corner and my crease as well, just slightly lower down. This is just a really, really beautiful deep brown with a little bit of a red tone to it. So it goes really beautifully with this look. Now that I have that color laid down, I'm just going to take the same brush that I used for the Jack's shade with no additional product and blend out the chip shade that I just applied. And I'm just going to take a totally clean brush again, and again blend out the very edges. Okay, I'm quickly gonna cut my crease using the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm gonna take this blue shade right here called Twerk and put this all over my lid. And I am going to wet my brush before I go in with that shade. I will say this isn't my favorite deep blue metallic shadow that I've ever used in my life, but I really, really love the tone of it. It's a really beautiful, just deep royal blue, which is one of my favorite colors to wear on the lid. It's so nice. You do have to build it up a bit. It's not so metallic compared to other shades that I have, like my Juvia's Place shadows, but it's definitely a decent option. And I'm not being super precise with the placement. Obviously, I'm sticking within the guidelines that I've created for myself, but it doesn't have to be the most precise because it is such a deep shade. I kind of wanted to just create a base for the shadow and create like a shape for my lid, because I don't really have a ton of definition naturally. Now that I have that blue laid down, I'm just going to take the smaller brush that I used and the chip shade and just go along the edges of this blue and not blend it out, but kind of just blend it into my crease a little bit more, as opposed to having such a harsh line. And then I'm going to take that Ready Jack's shade again and blend it just above where I put the chip shade. Again, just to blend it all together a bit more. Okay, and then I'm gonna take the Jack shade again and just blend it into the blue. Again, as best I can. Obviously these colors aren't gonna mesh, like blend seamlessly together, but I just wanna transition it a bit. And then I'm gonna go in with my Real Techniques brush again with the chip shade and deepen it up. I find that it's all about really layering your shadows and blending out and adding more. I mean, that's not a new concept, but I like to build and blend rather than lay a shit ton of product down and then attempt to somehow blend it all out and hope that it looks good. I find that it just gives me a little bit more control over my placement and then also the depth that I'm going. With a little tiny flat brush, I'm going to go in with this shade right here. It's called a Beam, and just take that on my brow bone. Just a little. I don't want anything too intense. For my lower lash line, I'm basically gonna do the exact same thing that I just did above. I'm gonna take the Jack shade. This is just a little Anastasia brush that comes with the palette. I'm taking the smaller, more stiff side, and I'm just stamping this really close to my lash line. And then I'm gonna use the fluffy side and take more of that shade and blend this all out. I'm gonna take a Real Techniques accent brush. It's just a really small little brush, and I'm gonna take the chip shade and stamp this really close to my lower lash line. With a pencil brush, I'm gonna lightly stamp into the chip shade and blend it out into the rest of my lower lash line. Okay, so unfortunately I think my camera stopped recording when I was doing my lower lash line, which really fucking sucks. I don't think otherwise you missed much, but we'll see if I end up re-filming this. Anyway, so what I did for my lower lash line is I essentially did the exact same thing as I did on my top. I used the Jack shade along my lower lash line and I blew it out a lot. I really blended it down. I used the chip shade really close to my lash line and blended that out slightly, and then I used the MFEO shade. Just buffed along the very edges of my lower lash line, and that's pretty much all I did. And then I put the Beam shade that I used in my brow bone on my inner corner. Pretty self-explanatory. I also then popped on the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm highlighter in the shade How Many Carats just on my lid, just for a little bit of sparkle. I really love this because when you swatch it, it looks literally like you dipped your finger in water. It's so beautiful. And continuing along the same vein of using products in my collection that I already have and that I don't use as much as I should, I've been trying to use this in more of my looks because it's really beautiful. It just adds a little bit of sparkle to your look. I don't love using that on my cheekbones, but on top of my eyeshadow, perfection. And then after that, I used the Colourpop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Venus on my waterline. It's a really pretty cherry red color. I used the Maybelline Ice Studio Gel Liner in the shade Blackest Black for my wing. And then I used the Maybelline Lash Sensational Curvitude Mascara in black as my mascara. To finish my face, I used the Melt's Stargazer highlight. I've talked about this before. It's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful neutral gold shade. And then for my blush, I used the Colourpop and Kathleen Lights blush in the shade I Need Space. And that is what I did. I used, for my freckles, I actually used this shade right here. It's called a Pukey. It's a really nice freckle shade, actually. I hope this video was still worth watching even though you missed all that. But we're just gonna roll with it and move on to lips. For my lips, I'm gonna use the Rimmel Lasting Finish Lip Liner in the shade Natural. And then I'm going to use the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Lip Color in the shade Raw Embrace. It's a really like very nude shade. What I like to do is like just kind of sloppily put this on my lips and then pat it out with my finger. I really love these liquid lipsticks from Rimmel, and if you're very fair like me, this shade is a really good nude, peachy nude shade that doesn't look too orange or anything. It's a really nice nude. Okay, well that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. I'm hoping to smooth those out in the future. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.